Okay. testing. That's why it's not working. Let us see. Oh my goodness. How did I do this? Hey. Greetings, Hotep, Aguaba, and bless up. And welcome back to the recovery zone in the recovery room of Racism Non-Anonymous. With me, your hostess with the mostest, or who what. This is Abena Africa, the recovering African who is still culturally enslaved here in America. And I am a representative from the voices in the margins, true to the cause of African liberation via unification and utilizing the tool of healthy and effective communications. I am a traumatologist, trauma queen, and queen of trauma. And that is understanding trauma and traumatic stress, what it is and how it has and continues to work in the lives of, first and foremost, African descendants. And I have to say that, because I'm standing on, bringing with me, if you will, a revolutionary 12-step self-help program that has been uniquely designed with you and me, the African, in mind, designed to support our healing and recovering from the traumatic stress of the human intentional type. And as you see, Malcolm's mandate back in 1964, during his speech, The Ballot or the Bullet, did let us know or suggest to us that what we needed was a self-help program. So as I begin to develop this self-help program, what has it been? A good 30 years now, 25. This is 2024, so certainly before 2000, probably in the mid 90s even. The late 90s actually, when I began my work and studies in the PhD program over at what was then Hahnemann. It had been Drexel at that point in the late 90s, and may have switched over to Drexel by then. And so, yes, so the mid to late 90s is when I began to develop this concept of racism non-anonymous. Having been very well familiar with the field in the disease of addiction, and that education and information I obtained from birth, from childhood, yes. And it's in the lineage, it's in the line on both sides of my family, back at least 3 generations. And see, I begin to discover that and as a PhD student in a systems couple and family therapy program. So of course, couple and family therapy, the research and the focus is you're looking at your family and family history, and you're learning different ideals, ideology, theories, and how they play out in the lives of families. And so, of course, as you're going through that educational process, so certainly for me, and I have always had the mind whereby I'm pretty quick with making direct association to myself, to apply it to myself first, and then that helps me to see it clear, like, let me try that on, and say, okay, and some shit don't fit, and after a minute, after a few minutes, if you will, I begin to recognize that this culture, European culture, does not fit my spirit. Yeah, because culture and spirituality are connected, as I understand. And so, again, self help, because racism in the lives of African descendants is not a secret, hasn't been for. And so our recovery process is not a secret. It's not anonymous. It's non-anonymous. See, this is revolutionary. So there are some significant shifts in the RNA program. There are also some similarities, if you will, to traditional self-help programs. And, excuse me, a banana or something. Um, Lost my quick train of thought for a second here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that just tells me, okay, breathe. So I must have kicked up something in the mind, in the spirit, that kicked up sort of a sandstorm of thoughts, energy, or something. Or maybe I think I just took a crash. In my spirit, it kind of took a crash landing into being here now. Because I was late in starting the meeting. It was supposed to start at 6 o'clock Saturday night. It did not. It didn't hit me until just at it was 6:12 when I looked and realized, oh snaps! It's Saturday night. It's six after 6 o'clock. I'm supposed to be hosting the RNA meeting. Get yourself on, right? And so I jumped right in and got right started. Now, as you notice, there was no music playing last week. This is our third sort of official meeting, introduction of the program. The book is complete and available for pre-sale. The book will be released, to the pre-sales, beginning launching in December by Christmas. And it's a lot of things, going on with it. And so as I'm starting again, opening the recovery room of Racism Not Anonymous, where it can be a safe space for people of African descent to come and release, do a TED Talk, have a TED Talks with Abena in the recovery room. The TED Talks you do with me is a therapeutic emotional dump. Dumping some shit. The shit that has been going on. The shit you're dealing with. Primarily, for us, as I recognize it, first and foremost, the shit we deal with on a societal level. That's the first level. Shit flows down. You look up, you see family, you see your community, and above them is the broader society, right? And shit flows down. So for folks of African descent, we have experienced, this shit from every level of lived experiences. And which makes it no secret to us that racism, white supremacy exists and works. Now the racist white supremacists in there, they can't see it. Yet that goes back, of course, to culture and the difference between an Afrocentric view and culture versus a Eurocentric view and culture. So I think I want to go ahead and I'm, looking up at the other screen so that I can try to pull up a clip. As I played last week, as I was about to say, the clip from Malcolm X where he said, we need a self-help program. And again, it's here. Where else do I want to go? I'm not quite sure. So that's what suggests to me maybe I want to take a quick tune break. And look, I would have to say, just for the record, I am returning to the world in this way, social media, YouTube, and learning all the other new things that are out and about here that have come that have been developed in the last 11 years. Because I took a vast break in 2023 when my husband made his transition, and that kind of stopped me from the work that I was doing, finishing the book and so forth, right? And so I was saying that to say, right, back then there were things you can do. There's been lots of changes, it seems, with the music, the music industry, in terms of how stuff is managed. See, I have to practice. I practice what I preach and teach. And just thinking about that opened up the door, that opened up the window, if you will, to the current shit that is going on in the entertainment area. You know, Nellie Fuller laid out for us those 9 areas of people activity in life, and the one of those areas is in the area of entertainment, which of course the vast majority of us, 85-90%, everyone participates in some form of entertainment, news, the videos, TV, entertainment, music, entertainment activities. Yeah. The primary with music and what's happening with the managers in that industry is currently, a whole blow up, right? Of course, it's a blow up with a black face on it, which is how the system works, because that's what it begins to hit for me when I think about it. Thoughts trigger feelings, which trigger behaviors. Yeah. So when you have a thought, and if the thought is what I'm thinking about is some shit, this act of huge injustice, the accusations that are out there, the proof that's there, the history of those type of behaviors.
Changing Semitism.
That history is there. No, we didn't want you to play. Woo, whoa. So I was about to say, what was I saying before I was so rudely interrupted? Oh, okay. I cannot minimize. I can't minimize when I'm recording. Okay. Whoa. And what I want to get to, I have to get to off of the screen. It's so interesting how spirit just moves, and it's moving in the sense that today, just a few hours ago, and what I had been so involved in this day, that I suppose supported my memory lapse with hosting this meeting on time. And I can host it on time, and I didn't host it off time, because at this point I'm quite aware I have not taken the necessary steps to market the program, to let people know that I'm here and for them to come on over. I haven't done that yet. So I'm like, okay, it's all good, because I just want to be able to record and put it up. I will post it up on YouTube, and then, share it on my other platforms to kind of get the word out there that right now, the recovery room is open. Now, it is a self-help program with Africans in mind. So, I have not necessarily decided on are whites, quote unquote, allowed. However, I have been asked that question in the past by community folks, the conscious community, black community, out here in Philly, just for the record, yeah. When I presented, the last time I really had an opportunity to sort of really present my program in the community, I was asked the question, and what about white folks? What do you do for white folks? And I have always been at that up until that point, maybe not even yet, in the last several years, and this was about 6 years ago, I suppose. What was I saying? Oh, it's so much. The energy, my spirit is high, is heightened, and it's happy. Even though, like Tanya would say, happy still ain't no friend of mine. However, yeah, and there'll be too much for me to get to what I want on here. Where was I? And I not get so distracted that quick. Now that would let me know when I am more comfortable with all of the tools, the social media tools, the marketing tools in social media, and developing more comfort with recording in this way. You know that things will change. There'll be people in the room, and maybe just give me one word what was the last word I was saying over there before I move it. You just get the last word, it'll all come back. And I'm having a sense and an awareness right now of myself that I may have jumped jumped 2 or 3 times, very tangential. Yeah, it's okay. Look, I just have to say, people, how can I put this? Like I said, I'm a traumatologist. So let's look at it from that perspective first. I'm a traumatologist. Having been traumatized or shattered, when something is shattered, it's the trauma. When the spirit, is when you drop something, it's a shattering. Things fall apart. Shit falls apart, And we know in our lives, historically, shit has fallen apart, And the spirit, though, when you have that sense of something crushing your spirit, you're so hurt, you're so disappointed, something just hits you. It's like, and you feel sadness. Something hit your eye, your senses, you see something that is an act of injustice. It hits your spirit, and the spirit responds with anger, normal. When the spirit senses danger, it's going to become anxious. It's going like, whoa, alarm. Hey, heart rate goes up. Everything heightened awareness. Hey, what's that? Yo, what's that? I heard that. Did you hear that? Danger, potential, will, or, yeah. And then once we recognize that there's no danger from that noise that we heard, the spirit, okay, calms down. The spirit within. I tend to liken it, and when I talk with folks in the work that I do, and that I've been doing for the last 35 years, working and helping Black folks first and foremost, because I'm a Black social worker. I am a Black social worker first. And that has its own set of rules and responsibilities that I have always valued and have honored and take seriously. And it's almost like at times it's like that was my quote unquote my mistake. Because to take those values seriously and practice African-centered culture in a shithole called America, yeah, where people are full of it and they have no knowledge of African culture, their true culture. We are forced to live European culture, their way of thinking and behaving. And they do not understand, it seems, or quite value what is in the middle, which is spirit, feelings. It's thought, feeling, then behavior. However, when you remove the feeling, you just have thought and behavior. I think you're a piece of shit, I knock the shit out of you. I love you, I'll give you this, and that to show that. I love you, and then and then the thought is I love you, and the behavior is I knock the shit out of you. You have no feeling. Where's the feeling part with that? Because to hurt someone with what is it seeming, it just speaks to the sickness, the mental illness, if you will, where this shit came from in the first place. That a people could and would hurt others intentionally. Remember what the shit is when I'm talking about it in here. We're talking about traumatic stress of the human intentional type. And that is up to and including when your mama whoop your ass. Because that was a human who intended to hurt you. That's some shit. Taking a belt, whipping me. That's some shit. Just like it was some shit for us when they had black folks enslaved with a goddamn whip. Do what I say do. And if you don't do what I say do, this is what I'm going to do to you. Black and white thinking. And what they all call, what we recognize in the quote unquote the mental health field and the helping field, as unhealthy thinking, unhealthy behaviors. And the problem is I see it and work to do. I'm a feelings coach too, It's all about the feelings. Feelings are our friends. Feelings are our friends. And it's so important for us to let them flow and let them go. Let the feelings emerge. Cry, scream, rage for the shit that's going on. The shit that happened in the past. Remember, tell the goddamn truth. And externalize the stinky poo. Right? That is, the process. In terms of healing, in terms of recovering yourself, recovery. And this program is about us recovering from the shit of European cultural thought and behavior that has been dumped on us, causing us to lose our African mind. And so if you're interested in reclaiming or sort of getting in touch with your African mind, and maybe what does that mean anyway? Any culture? I have some shit I can share with you. Just want to, pull your coat on some shit. Oh, that's right. That's one thing I was about to say back before. When I talked about having been away from social media platforming and so forth, the changes that's happening in the industry and the music industry and video. And so music, what music can I play? You gotta find legit music clips. I can't put on the songs that, back in the day we had Blog Talk Radio and you had your own dashboard and you uploaded your shit, your music, your whatever audio that you wanted to play while you were presenting. You could. Yet Blog Talk Radio is a radio station versus the video. Such that we are now in the video age, and yet I know that there are limitations in the music. There are limitations in what words you can say, and so I'm not quite sure. Certain I do speak with very profane prose, if you will. I speak profanely, and in so doing you may hear some profanity. Now I am really committed to, when I say shit, when I'm talking about the shit, that is an acronym for traumatic stress of the human intentional type. And so that is something to normalize. It's so interesting. Lord, boy, I could the stories I could talk about and tell and share with people, in terms of my journey. My journey to be able to get here now. And the things that the roads, those fucking muddy roads, stuff that I've traveled, right? And experiences. I'm 64 now. So and I've been in the profession, this profession for 35-ish years. Yeah, and as a child growing up in the 60s, a black child, a little dark skinned black nappy head child. It wasn't a very nice time. But not having no real nice time, no. And you learn a lot, about life. And my formative years was growing up under Malcolm X and listening to the messages of Malcolm, Kennedy, the civil rights, witnessing the horrors of the events taking place during that time. Because we had black and white TVs, that's when TVs were becoming popular. And so I was in the family. We had black and white. I don't know the first time. I still wonder when it was the first time we got a color TV. I was probably still under 18 when we got a first color TV. You certainly, though, back in the early 60s when those events were taking place, I know we were looking at the black and white, and it had the hanger to keep the reception clear and all that good stuff. Yes. And on television, they would show you what they were doing in Alabama, what they were doing in Tennessee, Mississippi, Atlanta, Philadelphia, even, with their hoses and their dogs. Yeah. Because it's so deep, buried so deep, and it's been buried in us for so long. This culture and the behaviors that they have perpetrated and perpetuated on people of African descent for fucking centuries is deep. And when you dig up something that's been buried that deep for that long, this shit smells rotten. Yeah, it's like, it's rotten. Yo, woo. It kind of like hit all senses at the same time. It's an explosion. Yeah, it's like the smell of it's all internal. It's all happening internally within the spirit. It's hitting the mind because the spirit like just blow the fucking spirit's mind. That's what. Woo! And so, when the spirit is shaken up in that way, we have to take it off autopilot and take control with the and I can begin to talk while focusing on my breath and taking control of that spirit so that it settles and it calms and all of the thoughts, the images that pop up when we think of something. When you think, you start to feel, depending on what you're thinking, right? What you're thinking about. Thinking about the historical, this history of them dumping shit on our in our lives, our culture, our people, everything for so long. It is enraging. Part of that stench of it. The spirit recognizes and becomes hugely enraged because it's such a huge injustice. It's an act of injustice. And our spirit's natural and normal, our spirit's way of letting us know what the fuck is happening. Your spirit's way of letting you know that is based on what you feel. So when I'm feeling anger, I have to really slow it down and think about, what am I thinking about? I'm thinking about something that I believe is an injustice. I'm seeing something that I believe is an act of injustice. And part of our process of recovery is about justice. And justice, I hold the definition that Nellie Fuller in the Countering Racist camp put out 20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago. Justice is assuring that no one gets hurt and assuring that those who need the most help get the most help. And when that's not happening, then an injustice is happening. Assuring that no one gets hurt first and foremost. So you see somebody who is being hurt, it's an act of injustice. Now, we have certainly normalized many acts of injustice, like physical discipline, corporal punishment. This kind of normalized as acceptable. It's not injustice. There's nothing wrong with that. If a parent wants to beat their child, that's within their rights. That's okay. Yet you don't understand what you're doing to that child's spirit, and what you're doing, and what you start creating in that spirit. Because what the spirit tell the mind and the connection that they make, that this shit is okay for somebody to whoop on me when I don't do what they say. So as I grow up in this world, trying to navigate and figure out how to be my own person versus I got to do what they say, because if I don't, I'm going to get fired. If I don't, I'm going to lose my, I'm going to get no job or what. I'm going to have to pay a price that's hurtful because I'm going to lose something. Just like that child loses the ability to protect themselves. When a parent say, bring your ass over here and don't move. And then after they whoop your ass with a switch or belt or whatever else they had, and then you tell you cry, shut up, else I'm going to give you something to cry for, as if the pain you just inflicted on me is not something to cry for, because my little mind as a kid is like, duh, 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 duh. And then what it settles is, okay, this is what this shit equal. And of course, you're never supposed to cry, because that means you're a quote unquote baby or a weak, a wimp, or blah, blah, blah. And so what did you just do to the spirit inside? And you wonder why people so jacked up in the head? That's what mental illness is about. I'm just saying. Look, what time is it? I'm almost about done, because, I have said some stuff, and I've, got a nice little recording I like, and I hope that you all find something useful in what I'm saying. However, because I don't have things set up in a way that I want right now, where I would want to put a song on, take a quick tune break. Again, knowing that whatever song I put up here, it might not be allowed, and then YouTube will flag your video or take it down. And I wonder if I could go live on YouTube. Do people do YouTube lives? They do. You can do YouTube lives, and so we may do that at some point. Yeah, I am gonna take a quick tune break. How about that? And I'm gonna play my brother Maccabee. Now, the one tune that I would love to play in terms of it really sits with and speaks to what this program is about. And there is a video that I made some 10, 15 years ago. It is on my channel, my YouTube channel. And it shows the steps of Racism Non Anonymous, and the backdrop is this particular song by reggae artist, the Big Rastaman, Maccabi. Now, it's not showing this. Well, show out. You know, when you're looking for something, never right there. If I wasn't looking for that particular song, that would be the one that came up first. However, because it is what I'm looking for, let me see, did it in this run up? No. We're going to talk about slavery and the effects of it today. Some people just don't want to know. Effects of slavery, that's the tune. Effects of slavery is what we are talking about and what we are working to address, clean up, and clear up here in the recovery zone, in the recovery room of Racism Non Anonymous with me, Mama Earth, Sis Abena, Africa.
Slavery and the effects of it today.
That was already.
Well, some people like to dismiss slavery like it was nothing. But you see, slavery, it can never be forgotten. Some people not gonna like what me say, but me I gonna say it anyway. We are gonna talk about slavery and the effects of it today.
Fair warning.
Some people just don't want to know about 400 years ago. But the thing about slavery, it's affecting people now. I tell you no lie, when I see a film about slavery, water comes to my eye. You wanna know why? Because it was me. I'm the same black man hanging in that tree, you see. They couldn't control my soul, so they had to control my body mysteriously. I has returned as the big Rasta man Maccabi. See, what about all the life that were lost? What about the black Holocaust? What about African slavery and what it's done to you and me? What about all the blood that was shed? What about the innocent dead? What about when the ship overload and it threw them overboard? Oh, I can see the effects of slavery still in the community, no identity. Suffering from amnesia, a case of lost memory, black man and woman. Can't you see your history never start on the plantation? Original man, man of creation, father of all nation. Just stay strong. Let go the brainwash mentality, no go on like no Babylonian. The road is long. You're gonna meet a lot of obstacles, no bow to the temptation. Run Satan. Tell the boy to go away. You're not in a nothing with him plan. Hold up your hand to the Almighty One. You are part of a great nation, man. What?
All right. Yo, y'all hear that? I'm gonna just play it little half. You still got a couple minutes in that tune. And to say this, one thing I am so attracted to and why I love, one of the things I really love about reggae Rasta culture, aside from it telling me my story, it's stepping into my real reality. It's like taking off this European culture, way of thinking and behaving, and stepping into my African-centered culture. That's what I get from roots culture reggae music, is talking the truth about my story and who I am. The other thing, I really became attracted to it again as I worked on my PhD. Because what happened as I was working on my PhD and doing the studies and research and different topics that I was interested in studying, I came across a website with Bob Marley's tunes, all his songs, all his music with the words to everything, all the words to all his music. That was an awesome site and stuff. However, all the words, and as I listened to the song, I had a Bob Marley, one of his favorite or most popular tracks or discs. I can't think of the name of it, but I'm sure everybody knows it. So we could be jamming. So the songs of music, party to a lot of those tunes. However, a lot of the words, some of the tunes, I hadn't really understood what they were saying. Now, the tunes that were really popular and played frequently, we heard those words. And you can, vibe and sing along. Most of his stuff, though, a lot of it, the words, I didn't really understand what he's saying, because like the Jamaican, and I don't understand what they're saying. And a lot of folks in the hood coming from where I'm from, don't listen to reggae because it's difficult to pick up the tongue. However, as a PhD student and coming across this website and finding this website with all the words to his music, Redemption Song and all that CD with Redemption Song and so forth, it like, wow, it was like click. It was just like a missing link, in the sense that what he was talking about in many of those tunes, and I'm not sure right now which, a couple of tunes I really tuned into, and they were provided proof, they were resources for my research, even on a scholarly level. For me, the music is in a resource of and a factor for decisions that people make in their lives, and there's a reason, so it's a factor, and it's a voice. For me, it became like part of my research. Like, okay, proof. That's the thing with research or PhD. When you make a statement, and that's what getting the dissertation is about. You make a statement. You have to say who agrees and who disagrees. And when you write your dissertation and you're talking about something, doctors, you always talk, and research scholars, you talk based on, and what your research is based on, who agrees with you and who disagrees, and how do you address, and how do you speak to those agreements and disagreements in your position that you take. Right, so you do the research, and the research is gathering the information. So as I gather information, these people agree with what I'm saying. They say the same thing I'm saying. Yeah, they agree. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to include that and incorporate it. And the main thing also for me with reggae music, I love that the questions, because they're always asking questions, and I have answers for those questions, because that's what my research and my work and life story has been about, answering those questions. And in their music, they ask questions and answer as well as offer a solution. Now you can't get no better than that. If you listen to reggae tune, once you pick up the tune and you start to understand what they're saying, you'll be like, oh snaps, yes. Well, I suppose you would be like, oh snaps, yes, if you have come to a point where you believe, or you have a sense that something's off within you. Something's off. I gotta look at some shit, something ain't right. And then, some things ain't right. The shit that's been happening to me all my life, it's just not right. And by now, it's all piled up in my head, my spirit, because we hold on to shit. So the spirit, at some point, is gonna come out. It starts to come out with health problems, mental, emotional health, or physical. Mental, emotional, or physical health problems. It's gonna show up, right? It might take 20, 30, 35, 40, 50 years. However, at some point, it's going to show up, and that's when people come to therapy, to begin to understand what's going on, and then get some tools. At least that's what I can provide. That's what I do. That's how I help people. Help them see what happened, where the shit coming from, and then we identify the tools that they need to keep clean that shit up, so that they can be free to move forward in what goals they have set for themselves to do. That's me as a communications coach. And it's all about healthy and effective communication. Communication is key. And Maccabee have a tune about that too. Yeah. So reggae artists, they agree with what the research has shown me. My research has shown me working as a therapist, as a social worker, beginning in the 90s, the early 90s. I got my master's degree in 93. 93. I completed my master's program in social work. And, was introduced to the National Association of Black Social Workers 3 years prior. I think I did. I think it took me 3 years to do the master's. Yeah, because I'm an adult. I got to work, and so I think it took 3 years. Yeah, 90 to 93. Went from 88 to 90 at Hahnemann and got my bachelor's, and then I moved on right into my master's from 90 to 93. So I really started working in the field even on the bachelor level in the late 80s. And it was right after I came out of being, no, I didn't come out of being a quote unquote patient, because I remained active in my own therapy process well beyond even graduating from the master's program. So I had been in therapy. I went into therapy starting in 86, late 80s, 85, 86. 86, yeah, it was 86, the year I turned 26, and started off that January with crack had hit our community. And by the end of that year, I had my shit in the hospital and my shit getting together, and we not doing that. We're not going on like that. So that's the 86. And after I, did that, I got my ass back together and got back in school. And went from there. So, yeah, I don't know. Just gathered a lot of information over that time and a lot of research that I have gathered as a result of completing the bachelor level, and then you're in the master's level, and then you started at PhD level. I started at PhD level in the late 90s, about 97. And went up until early 2000 when life shifted in a way, again, for me. So, I did not complete the PhD. I am all but dissertation. And, even had the vision, like back then, so, to do a dissertation. I want to do my dissertation talking. Can I talk? Can I talk from that generation? I can sit here and write all this shit with all these rules and this way and that way, because really that's what a dissertation is. It's simply, I forget. It's like telling the same story and sharing all this proof. It's just done in writing. And you have a group of people who ask you questions about what you did and what you researched. And they're looking at, did you put it in the right format in written form? And you have to be able to deal with everything without feeling. That's the sickest, it's like remove the feeling. You have to be very, very controlled and very contained. You have to learn how to contain and control your spirit and your spirit's energy. So people learn how to do that naturally. They take it off of autopilot. Yet it's almost like they're not really making a conscious decision. Because what are they doing with the feelings that are going to arise when you hear some shit, you think about some shit, you see some shit, you experience some shit? You are going to, if you're healthy, and you're likely to feel. What's it like if you were to run into somebody who, I don't know, have very little regard or sense of feeling for a huge loss that they had or somebody else had, or a huge injustice? The school kids were shot up, and they're like, oh, so ain't no big deal. You kind of be like, oh, what's wrong with them? What's wrong? They have no feeling? You gonna feel that? No? Okay. No compassion. That's what compassion is, to feel what somebody else feels. And oftentimes that thing has been smothered out of our spirit. So at this point, it is like, 7:02, so it's been a whole hour, that I recorded, and I'm going to go ahead and close out and let I'm gonna let Maccabee finish, since we don't have it set up, the clip from Malcolm, where you will hear him say we need a self-help program. And again, we can begin to welcome it and honor him in that program is now here. And this is why we need it and what we intend to do with it.
What about all the mothers that cried? What about all the children that died? What about all the suicide and the pain we feel inside? What about all the shackles and chain? What about the messing up of the brain? Don't know from where you came, you don't even know your name. Aided and abetted by some unscrupulous African. 100 million is the estimation that died on the crossing of the plantation with no compensation. Holocaust is a word that they use for what the Nazis did to the Jews. Compensation was never refused. Their own land they even got to choose. So what's wrong with us? Was the Black Holocaust not so serious? What's wrong with us? Was the Black Holocaust not so serious? What's wrong with us? Was the Black Holocaust not so serious? What's wrong with us? Is the Black Holocaust not so serious? Some people not gonna like what I say, but me I gonna say it anyway. We are gonna talk about slavery and the effects of it today. Some people just don't want to know about 400 years ago, but the thing about slavery, it's affecting people now. What about all the lives that were lost? What about the Black Holocaust? What about African slavery and what it's done to you and me? What about all the blood that was shed? What about the innocent dead? What about when the ship overload and then throw them overboard? What about all the mothers that cried? What about all the children that died? What about all the suicide and the pain we feel inside? What about all the shackles and chains? What about the messing up of the brain? Don't know from where you came, you don't even know your name. You don't know from where you came, you don't even know your name. You don't know from where you came, you don't even know your name. Rastafari.
Bless and thank you for listening to me share.